Metal videos, especially of the extreme metal kind. Death metal, black metal, heck, even thrash metal. They all tend to be quite crappy, shitty, or outright goofy. And the question is, why those videos were made? Why are they being made? That's actually two different questions with two different answers. For the sake of the conversation, so you have at least a little bit of clue what I'm talking about here, I'm gonna just tune in for Immortal video, Call of the Wintermoon. Now, it's obviously without sound, so my talk doesn't get mixed with the music. The thing is, the track is good, maybe not the best Immortal track, but still kind of presenting the very fact that Immortal is talented with songwriting right from the beginning. Now, this is one of those videos which doesn't really make any sense at all. I mean, if you take a look at the title and then at this video, or in general just without even listening to the song, this video makes no sense at all. It's all about just like three guys wandering, running about the woods, torches, and doing weird phases, and in general going about places, blowing the fire and staring at the sky, ruins or whatever. This is kind of a good example why metal videos are so goddamn stupid that even hardcore metalheads have hard time to properly get into this and rather not like, oh shit, facepalm all the way. Now the thing is, why these kinds of videos were made. This was a topic brought to my attention, or more like participating in that, thanks to Rauta Discord, where we had this chat about like old metal videos, especially the extreme kind. Now, obviously this is kind of a complex question because, you know, first of all, what happens today with the age of YouTube and Facebook and other social media platforms is very, very different than what was going on in the 80s and even early 90s. That is before the revolution of internet. You know, back in the days, you actually had to promote stuff via more traditional press. That was mostly magazines, printed ones, that is. You didn't have websites, you didn't have blogs, you didn't most certainly have YouTube channels, which then again is very fitting place for music videos. But back in the days, what you mostly had was printed stuff. It might have been fanzines, surely, but it was mostly about magazines. But what else? Yes, you had radio, but extreme metal and radio don't fit that well together. So only one media was left as a stone unturned, and that was music television. Back in the days when they actually had television programs about music, which played music programs and music videos, that is. And there was a program called Headbangers Ball that I still think is going on in some places. I at least have a vague idea that it might be going in United States to this day, I guess. But I really don't know what was going on. Maybe it just became kind of a thing that it wasn't worth doing anymore. I mean, with the shadow of reality shows and people being more interested in that. And metalheads are not exactly known for their willing to spend their time with watching mainstream stuff doing. I mean, metalheads can be very, very hardcore when they want to buy a certain album, first print of some cult release and all that stuff. But mostly, let's be honest about it, most just listen to their music on YouTube, not spending their dimes on CDs, vinyls and tapes, t-shirts, merchandise, that is other than t-shirts and whatever. Some go to shows, surely, but that's about it. So it's no wonder that things like MTV decided to call it quits. I guess it wasn't just worth doing it. But back in the 80s and 90s, Headbangers Ball was the place where you would find new music, really cool bands. I remember seeing a lot of bands making cool videos back in the early 90s, especially when I had a mate in my class, in my school, who had access to MTV. I didn't, I mean, it was on like a satellite TV or whatever. And where I lived, we didn't have it. Anyway, so I brought some empty or maybe used VHS tapes to this friend. Like, hey, can you record this, tape this Headbangers Ball for me? So I get to see those videos. And then I would later on pick the selected good songs for myself and take it to another friend who would just copy the videos I wanted to save for myself to another tape in order to make a kind of a compilation videotape that is like mixtape but with videos. So I was handpicking cool songs like, bands like Ball Thrower, Carcass, Cannibal Corpse, stuff like that. And through those days, early 90s, I would find a lot of cool bands via Headbangers Ball. That was the era of music videos. That was the time when even extreme metal bands had a little bit of kind of a, I wouldn't say as far as to kind of say mainstream coverage, but they at least had something else than just, tapes burning via tape trading or having their CDs and vinyls and tapes sold at some back room of a record store or whatever. So you had these cool bands, doing something else than just, shows in unknown places and, selling records. Obviously, metal bands didn't exactly have the same kind of budget as the big artist. I mean, it's pretty much the same, obviously, nowadays. You really can't compare metal bands to a bigger artist. I mean, if you think about it's like Beyonce or Jay-Z, and then you have bands like, I don't know, Immortal. You really don't have the same budget. But back in the days, the difference was even bigger. I mean, obviously, nowadays, bands like Immortal, Satyricon, etc. have so much following, so big fan base that they are actually signed to bigger labels, and as such they have some decent budget, I guess, for music videos. I mean, most of the bigger bands at least have some. And nowadays, metal bands have more cool videos, even if we don't have that MTV anymore. But back in the days, it was just about somebody's parents probably having a, small home recording device, and you would go like, hey, let's do some music video. You probably didn't have access to cutting rooms. You didn't definitely have access to any kind of editing software. So you pretty much had to do with crappy elements, crappy gear, no skill and all that stuff, and you had zero budget. And that results in video like this, made with somebody's parents' recording device, most likely that is. I remember doing not music videos, but similar equipment and zero budget, and we just did our own home videos, if you will, and they were goofy, they were kind of stupid, and definitely zero budget. Well, next to zero. I mean, we probably spent some money to go to places, but still, I mean, we're talking about maybe tens of euros maximum. Anyhow, the point is, back in the days when you didn't have access, you didn't have smartphones, which are nowadays way better geared with all kind of video cameras and, well, traditional photography cameras and all that stuff. So you had to do with whatever you had in your possession to do a video, and then maybe a label would send it and get it to featured on Headbangers Ball or something like that. There were others, I know. Headbangers Ball was just the most known for, showing these kind of videos. But obviously, I mean, even though it was a quite lengthy show, something like 2.5 hours maybe, I mean, it had others than just extreme metal. So basically bands like, say, Satyricon was, I mean, it had to kind of, make room and had to fight for a room to coverage with other bands. Bands like Pantera, Metallica, the big names. And it wasn't any given that you would just, go like, hey, this is our latest music video, just play it. And even if you did and the quality was like this, you would be like, is this really a good promotion? But that very much explains why those videos were so crappy back in the days, because, once again, zero budget, zero skill, and that's what you had. Now, obviously, nowadays it's very different. Like I said, the question is very different. Why do bands nowadays do music videos? Well, first of all, they still are used for promotion, and I think a good video still is able to make new fans. It's gonna sell records, it's gonna sell gigs. That is when COVID actually is not preventing that to happen. And as such, cool music videos are still a thing. But when we go to these crappy videos, I mean, does anybody actually enjoy them? Yeah, surely a handful of people, definitely. And I know that this is one of those most horrible ones. And what I've heard, I don't know for a fact though, is that it seems like even Immortal is a little bit ashamed of this video, or at least not happy about it. But it's not like most bands had much of a choice. You either made a crappy video or then you didn't make a video at all. And even some of those better videos, including Satyricons, Mother North. I mean, while that is not laughable as Call of the Wintermoon here, it's not like it's a great piece of filmography. It's not like, yeah, this is an award-winning music video because it has such a cool storyline and such great acting or whatever. It is just there to give some visuals for a band to play their song. And as such, it is what was demanded more or less from shows like Headbangers Ball to play it in the beginning. I mean, no way, I would say, you would have gotten with your lyrics video. You know, I mean, if you had like a video back then and you would just add layers of lyrics and send it away, because who would watch it anyway? It's very different from a YouTube era because you can just play the music whatever screen you have. And that's why YouTube is still the most used music listening platform. So you don't even need any kind of visuals basically to just upload a track and there it is. And that's why people go for that. But back in the days, music video was the thing. Now, I don't want to make fun of Immortal more than I have to, but let's be honest about it. This is one of those videos followed by later videos which are not as goofy but still kind of a meme material, which then again turned the whole band into a meme band. I mean, it wasn't intentional, and obviously it's so much easier for nowadays to just laugh at this stuff. But people, say millennials and even younger generation, probably don't understand how different what it was. I mean, nowadays everybody just can take the smartphone and do a little bit of quick editing and you have a way better quality. But when you are a young guy, gal for that matter too, and you're gonna do your video, you're gonna probably do a lot of goofy stuff. And Immortal was on the forefront of the second wave black metal. So obviously when you take a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of, the kind of attitude, let's get something done, instead of having those fellow colleagues who don't even have a band, those fellow metalheads who don't have anything productive. Let them do the barking and let us focus on the music and do a video. So what if it is crappy? At least they got the shit done. So what can I say? Goofy videos are goofy. There's no denying that. But at least these guys went to someplace instead of, playing their empty mouths, and that's it. But that's a very short take on how and why these music videos were made back in the days. I hope to enlighten at least the newer generation because they might be totally clueless about it. And since I want to leave with this question, what's your favorite goofy metal video of all time? Should you have something in mind, please drop it in the comments box below and maybe we can share some goofiness and cool stuff among each other. This all being said, take care, have a good weekend, and bye-bye.